Children's Workshop. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. So today we are going to be reviewing Winterkeep by Kristen Cashmore. So this is the fourth novel in the Graceling series, and I get it. I get why people wait until series are complete before they start reading them. Winterkeep is definitely one of those novels. You have to read it with the previous novels fresh in your mind, because there's a lot. You know, I like to pride myself on my good memory when it comes to books. My coworkers as well, even Gina, from OMG, look at her books. She likes to tell me all the time that I have a great memory. Which, thank you. So I like to pride myself on my good memory. But my God, there's a lot of info dumping in this book. I think this is the biggest book in the series thus far. And I did like Graceling. I like Graceling a lot. I felt like Fire was kind of meh because I was expecting a sequel, and it was really just another book one. In fact, it was kind of like a prequel almost, but kind of marketed as the next one in the series. It was weird. And then you have Bitter Blue, which is the sequel to both of those books. And I liked Bitter Blue. But this one, oh my God, there's so much exposition and there's so much info dumping in this book that it just made me bored. I tried to read this book physically. I could not get into it. It was such a struggle for me. I think her prose is very lyrical. I will say that about Cashmore. I do think she has a really good knack for storytelling, but it's a lot. There's a lot of exposition in this book that, for me, it just slowed down the pace way too much. And I like exposition. You know, too much of it, again, can be a bad thing, but too much of anything can be a bad thing. I don't mind exposition, and I also don't mind point of view shifts. So there are three separate point of views. You have the mythical creature called the Keeper, and then you have Bitter Blue, and then you have God, I don't even remember her name. She didn't have a strong enough personality for me to even remember writing her down in my notes. I don't even have her name written down in my notes. I remember her story arc. It's more of a coming of age story, like coming to terms with her sexuality. I did like it. And also she's coming to terms with the fact that her parents and her country, not really good people. Her story arc is more of a coming of age storyline. Bitter Blue, you know, it's a continuation of Bitter Blue. She's queen now. She's really coming into this role as queen, dealing with a lot of political upheaval and a lot of betrayal and subterfuge, connecting with her secret half-sister, finally realizing she's in love with this man that is in love with her. And then you have the Keepers storyline, which I wasn't 100% sure it mattered enough to the plot. Don't get me wrong, it is important to the plot later on. So I guess a lot of it is just, you know, building up what the Keeper is and its place in this realm and the fantasy. But there's just, oh God, I ended up having to listen to the audiobook version of this book. And even that was just, boring. Because there's so much exposition and there's so much world building. We're 4 books in, we shouldn't have this much world building. I get it, she's going to another kingdom. We do need to learn more about this kingdom and the magic here and how the politics work here. I understand that. I can respect that. But oh my God, it's a lot. There's more world building in this book than there was in Graceling, I feel like. It's just bogs down the story and the pacing really just too much. It just bogs down too much. So it was a struggle for me to read this book from beginning to end. And it does draw back a lot, actually, from Graceling and Fire and Bitter Blue. It draws back on a lot of the stuff that happened in the book, because many of the events in those books, which thankfully I do remember, but I had to go on Wiki, you know, half the time to be like, what happened in this book again? Because all of her books have a lot of info dumping and a lot of exposition, but they weren't as bad to me. There was still a lot of action. There's still a lot of fast pace. There's still lots of character growth in the previous books. In this one, yes, there is character development, but again, I don't think the personalities were distinct enough for me to really care. You know, I already know Bitter Blue. She doesn't really need to go on any more character development. She had a whole book, you know, just devoted to her character development, which I did enjoy. But this one, it was so much. And it just really brought down the pacing of the book for me. It made it very boring. It made it very boring, very hard to get through, to the point where I had to stop reading the physical book so that I could get the audiobook, so that I could maybe absorb something of this book. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood for it. No, I really was excited to read this book. I will say that Sea Sparrow is probably it's a quarter thinner. So Sea Sparrow is a much thinner book. But this one, oh my god. I wanted a faster pace. Considering the first 3 books in the series give me a faster pace, I wanted my pacing to match what I was already experienced with. There are some high stakes and high paced sequences, but they're very few and far between. Like I said, one of the story arcs is really just a coming of age story. The Bitter Blues is the only one that's really action paced, has probably a quarter of the time, and high tension. But otherwise, it was a struggle. It was a struggle for me. So I will give this book 3 out of 5 stars, just because I think if I read the book series together, I probably would have appreciated it much more, which is why I'm giving you this warning. If you have not already read the Graceling series, or if you have not already read Winterkeep, please reread Graceling, Fire, and Bitter Blue. Just read them all together. I think you will have a much better understanding and a much better appreciation of the book than I did. It was just a lot. It was a lot of information. It was a lot of exposition. Very slow paced story. It just was not what I was expecting or what I was used to from Cashmore's writing. But it was an interesting story overall. It was just a struggle to get to, so 3 out of 5 stars. I will, of course, include links in the description below on where you can purchase the book if you so desire, if you want to check it out yourself, or if you're a fan, just remember, just read it together. God, I hope I don't have to go through this when I read Sea Sparrow. At least this one's fresh in my mind, so there's that. In any case, thank you all for tuning in to Sin's Workshop. Please don't forget to like the channel, subscribe to it, and share with all your book learning friends. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.